March 2020. I just got out of a relationship. I was 3 months in a nofap. I was still simping, had no drive, no motivation, nothing to focus on. I was just down bad. Next thing you know, me being down bad, I get a gun pointed at me. The shooter's name was COVID. COVID had that gun pointed at me for a very long time. Anytime he could pull the trigger. So it had me on my pivot ever since. The thing is about this, a regular person would think having a gun pointed at you is terrible. But with me, ever since that gun was pointed at me, it helped me in the long run. Because as that gun was pointed at me, as I knew that any time I could die, I started to make sure that every single thing that I did until this point was helping myself improve. And because of quarantine, I was able to realize that. This video is going to be about how the quarantine transformed me into a better person. Let's get into the video. What's good, y'all? My name's Rami. Welcome back to another video. I'm about to tell y'all the reason why I adore quarantine. But I'm going to tell you guys the reason why I accept quarantine and why I thank the quarantine for happening. Because without the quarantine happening, every single thing I'm about to list off, I wouldn't be in the right position in order to accomplish these things. And quarantine really put me in the place to where I'm by myself with nowhere to go and nothing to do. So I had nothing but to actually progress. Before I get to these points, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications, and join the Discord, link in the description. Without further ado, let's get into the video. The first way that quarantine helped me become a better person was that it started my self-improvement arc. I always talk about that Vontu Cup video that I saw that started, my whole research on nofap, and then the other videos right after that. And that happened around April, I'll say, during quarantine, because I was so bored. I was just scrolling to YouTube, and then I saw a Vontu Cut video. Now, if I was busy going out with my friends, or I was busy out somewhere in school, then I wouldn't have found that video. And I like to think about that so much, because a lot of these things that happened to me, I was just in the right place in the right time. And finding that Vontu Cut video was it. And it wasn't even a self-improvement video. It was one of his workout videos. And then I went on his channel, and then I saw a whole bunch of self-improvement videos, and I started checking those out. Now, ever since I checked those videos out, I would execute what I saw. Every time I saw a video about this, and that, I'll get a bunch of videos to watch, and then I'll execute them to the point where every single time I was just progressing as a person. Of course, I'm not a perfect person, but I'm definitely better than I was then. And it got to the point where in February, I started preaching the things that I was taught. And that's how this channel has came about. And I'm grateful for that. Second way that quarantine helped me transform into a better person was that I had time to self-reflect and space to self-connect. Like I said before, if I wasn't in quarantine, I probably wouldn't be doing any of this. I probably wouldn't have this channel, and at the same time, I probably wouldn't have the knowledge or the courage to be in front of a camera and speak, because I was a very insecure person. That's something that I couldn't even admit in my past life, in the past year, past couple years, whatever. But I was a very insecure person. Sometimes I felt like that the good things I was getting, I didn't deserve. For example, the relationships that I had in the past, I felt like I didn't deserve it. So every time I see something small go on in that relationship, I start to think, okay, this is proof that I didn't deserve it, because now something's going to happen to me. Now something's bad is going to happen to me. That's what I was thinking. And it was because I was insecure. I wasn't sure of myself. But ever since quarantine started and I was able to stop, think, and reflect, I was able to find my weaknesses and I was able to find my strengths. I found those weaknesses and I tried to turn them into strengths, and I found those strengths and I tried to turn them into stronger strengths. Ever since I got into that type of phase, that's all I've been doing. And of course, like I said earlier, there are some things that I can work on, but I'm just glad that I'm able to try to improve every single time. The third thing that quarantine helped me with was my friends. It helped me find my real friends. Now, when it comes to quarantine, before it, every time I go to school, I would see my friends. I was a very extroverted person. Every time I see somebody I know, I walk up to them and say, "What's up?" to have a conversation. And I was like that with a lot of people. But ever since quarantine started, I felt like I unlocked my true self. I found out that I wasn't an extrovert at all. I was just in the position, or I was in the environment of one. And I didn't even voluntarily become an introvert. When I got into quarantine, you have to understand, people had to go the extra mile in order to communicate with you, because they're not going to see you in person that much anymore. They have to text you, call you, find your Instagram, stuff like that. And a lot of my friends didn't do that. And it got to the point where I had to do a lot of process of elimination. The friends that I had before this quarantine started and the friends I have now, the number went down. The number is very small now. And it's for the better. Because like I said, it helped me find my real friends. I was able to take off the dead weight. If I ever need somebody to help me with something or to suggest something to me, those are the friends that I mostly have now. And I'm grateful for that. Fourth thing that quarantine helped me with was growing my perseverance. Of course, I went through things in the past that, were hard on me. But you have to realize everything that I went through in quarantine was different, because not only did I go through those things, but I also had to deal with quarantine. It's like back then I was walking 5 miles every day. That's how the pain felt, right? But in quarantine, that was just an extra weight on my back, because I had to worry about staying inside, being bored, lonely. I had to worry about not dying, not getting sick, wearing masks, staying 6 feet, putting on hand sanitizer. Just more things to worry about, more things to stress about. And because I had that weight on my back, and now that the weight is gone, because quarantine is dying, now any problem that I go through in the future, it won't be as bad, because I already had that the callus in my mental mind, in my body, from that quarantine, from the coronavirus, from the outbreak. And again, I'm thankful for that. Last thing I want to talk about on how quarantine helped me is that quarantine helped me get closer to God. I always been a believer, but quarantine, it really challenged my belief, because I had to understand why, okay, if God is this and God is almighty and stuff like that, why are we going through this pandemic? And it caused me to dig deeper into the whole word of God, how to understand free will and things like that. And also, I started to have a different type of appreciation for God, for what I believe in. And, back then I was a believer, like I said, but now it's I'm a different type of believer. Now I'm a believer that doesn't just believe in God. I'm a believer to where I want to find out. I want to change my beliefs. I want to turn it to I believe in him to I have a type of connection with him. So yeah, that's pretty much what I've been working on. And I'm glad that I was able to be in quarantine to work on that. Because like I said earlier, and for a lot of my other reasons, I was able to stop, think, self-reflect, and just focus on the things I need to be focused on, because I didn't have as many distractions as I did before quarantine. But yeah, that's all I have to say. I appreciate y'all so much. Road to 2K. I know I usually don't do an outro, but today's different, you feel me? You guys really helped me push through the last months, the last days of quarantine. Can't thank y'all enough. Appreciate you making to the end of this video. Y'all already know what the deal is.